Hey folks, today I'm going to be reviewing a lineup of 7 Calvadoses, Calvadoi. And the reason is very simple. Because in about 2 months' time, trade policy in the US is about to be thrown out of an airplane 3 miles up, and it might be time to start stocking up on imported spirits. And in particular, like, importers, right? I don't know what's going to happen. Neither do you. But I'm pretty sure prices on imported spirits are not going to go down. And I'm pretty sure margins aren't going to get better at nerdy spirits importers. And I kind of want those folks to stick around. I kind of want nerdy spirits to continue showing up on the shelves. And thinks, business isn't that great as it is, and boy howdy, I'm sure they would love it if you went and bought some of their stuff, so so that they could have a little bit of cash lying around for the dark times potentially to come. All right, so what do I got here? I have got 7 Calvadoi. Let's go with that. 3 of them were kindly sent to me by PM Spirits. The other 4 I got sort of by normal means. And we have got 3 Calvadoi from the Pays, which is the kind of big famous region in Calvados in Normandy. Where everything has to be pot distilled. There's a much stricter regulation. Jesus, look at the color on that. There's much stricter regulations on fermentation time, things like that. And I've got 4 more that are just regular generic Calvados. They are distilled in short column stills. And some of them even have a fair proportion of pear in there, which is kind of fun. I do have some Domfronte sitting in storage over there. That's for another day. Right now, it's just the non-pear centric Calvadoi. So let us start out with. Everyone else is in trouble. I am starting out with a pair of Camuts. Adrien Camut is a very, very, very well-renowned house in Calvados. Some friends and compatriots of mine believe they are just the best Calva producer, period. And right now we've got 2 options for them. This is the 6-year-old. And next up we have a Reserve, which is 35. So that will get interesting. But let's start with the 6. Apple, yeah, of course. Ooh. Okay, so it's a mix of like mashed dessert apple, like Red Delicious, but there's also some like sour, like really grungy, earthy cider apple in there. There's some flowers. No notes today. We're just shooting from the hip. Ooh. There's a kind of like a fig butter thing going on here. Dried fruit, really like thick. Black pepper, certainly. Darjeeling tea. I mean, there's a grunginess to this, which is, it reminds me a little bit of, grunginess is not the right word. What am I thinking of? Like almost like a smoked caramel kind of thing. That in some ways it reminds me of like Guyanese rum, like Demerara rum. More flowers rolling in. Some chocolate, like a malted milk ball kind of thing. Here's a fun note. There's a little like sprinkle of like Parmigiano Reggiano on there. Like a little bit of cheese, just a little bit. something slightly. This is a fun one. It's like initially when you nose this, you're just getting the apple. But the more and more I come back to this, the more I'm picking up. There's something beery in here as well, like a strong lager, like a Doppelbock or something. It's a very complex Calva. I mean, it's only 41%. We're just basically going up in strength here. God, I would kill to love it. I would kill to try a Camut at like 45, 50. But this is all I got so far on the palate. That is delicious. That is gorgeous. So it's the relative lack of age. It's only 6 years old, and the relative lack of ABV is kind of hurting it in the mouth feel and the mouth length. It's really not getting back into my tonsils at all. But in terms of form, it's got good development, and the finish just hangs in there. Like, I am still tasting this. Oh, yeah. It's got that, again, that mix of, like, dessert apple with, like, bitter, sour cider apple characteristics. There's even a little bit of, like, a rotten pear kind of thing going on here. But then you've got the chocolate. Not malted milk balls. This is more like Hershey's Kisses kinds of chocolate. Like slightly butyric, throw-up-y chocolate. That. But nice. Certainly some dirt on this. Just like some topsoil kinds of elements. The floral stuff again. Dried flowers. Like smoked caramel. Yeah, there is. If you are a fan of Demerara rum and you want to explore another category, this might be a fun one to grab. White pepper, a little bit of cinnamon, that fig butter thing, raisin, some like. This reminds me of an ice cream. What is it? It's not, I want to say rum raisin. It's not rum raisin. It's butter pecan. Butter pecan ice cream. Absolutely. It's in here. I mean, the only thing really holding this back is the strength. I mean, give me a bottle of this at higher proof, and we're heading up into the stratosphere. I'm going to give this a little bit of water. We'll come back to it. Let's give it like 2 drops. That seems right. And we move on to another 41%er, but a considerably older one. This is the Adrien Camut Reserve d'Adrien. 35-year-old Calvados Pays, pot distilled. I can already tell this is going to be a pain in the ass. It is very closed. So I get to break out another one of my favorite tasting notes. Apple cheese. Go to your local Lithuanian bakery. They will sell this stuff, which is basically like boiled down apples that have been mixed with a little bit of honey. So it's sort of like almost like an apple taffy, or like almost like apple fruit roll up. That is what this smells like. Buy some; it'll last you for years. Yeah, apple cheese, but like just covered in topsoil or like fresh potting soil with a little bit of like grungy peat in there. Not Isla peat, not that kind, like potting peat. Dried flowers again, a little bit of potpourri. Dense. There's a mustiness to this. It's not really. It's not a super duper outgoing nose. This one is. It's fighting me a little bit. But yeah, it's like I went into a super musty cellar where flood water just drained out. There's a little bit of mold trying to take hold in a corner, and I find some apple cheese there. And it's covered in dirt and stuff, but and maybe some like dried flowers, but I'm so happy and I just mash it into my nose. That's what this smells like. There's some rich like brown sugar, like real brown sugar kinds of elements. Black pepper, most definitely. Kind of minerality to this, like rocks, wet rocks. Tea, Darjeeling, yes, but also like a little bit of like roasted oolong in there, and that kind of like Parmesan cheese thing again, but also a little bit of pecorino. Like Italian hard cheeses is sort of what I'm getting at. It's rich. It's throwing me lots of things, but it's not that outgoing. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the bottling strength. Beautiful. There's some dried strawberries in there as well. Lots of dried fruit. Kiss of like lime peel. I could keep going. Like there's a lot going on in this on the palate. I haven't checked the price on this deliberately. I don't know. I don't want to know how much this costs. But, there's a deliciousness factor here. It's. So what I'm getting on this, which I wasn't really getting so much in the previous class, the 6-year-old, or even the 18 I reviewed a while back, is there is a little bit of a sour element. There's an acidity to this. It's actually. I mean, I go into old French spirits with a certain expectation that it's going to wallop me in the face with, an oak board, and that's not what's happening here. It's actually, very refreshing. There's almost like a thirst quenching thing going on with this on the palate. Oh, like this is, I don't know, I'm not sure if this is up there with Perlas de Jalisco for like just crushability, but this is crushable. This is dangerous. Lots of that same mix of dessert apples and cider, bitter sour cider apples in the front end, musty oak, different tea leaves, oolong tea, black teas, black pepper, some different spices, cinnamon, maybe a little nutmeg. Not really the chocolate thing showing up on the palate. It's much more kind of tea driven than chocolatey driven. Black pepper. But then there's this shriek of malic sourness, like apple sour, that kind of emerges on the mid palate, transitioning into the finish. That is just like gorgeous, and I mean, it just makes me want to drink more of this. Better mouth presence, better mouth length. No surprises there. Finish is really, really darn good. It's got the mustiness thing on the palate. It's got the topsoil thing on the palate. I'm not getting the cheesy thing. Maybe that's okay, though. If you're weird like me, you probably want, cheese in your spirits, but, probably not most people. Okay, I'm going to give this a squirt of water, and we shall move on. Not a squirt, like 2 drops. 1, 2. Glass number 3 is a Roger Groult, which is a very, very famous producer. This is a pick from the Aficionados group. So full disclosure, I hang out in their Discord all the time. 21-year-old. I'm not sure what year this is, but it's bottled at 41.1%. And again, this is also Pays d'Age, so pot distilled, long fermentation, all that good stuff. I mean, first thought, it just smells like a more classic kind of Calva. Like the Camuts, I'm really impressed with these. I really like them. They're too expensive. I really like them, but it's like they get weird. They get funky. They lean almost in a rummy direction, if that makes sense. This is just a straight up like Granny Smith apples backed up with musty cellar all the way. It's really, really pure and nice. Are there some flowers? Maybe some blossoms, some lilacs? Sure, but a lot of this is just take a Granny Smith apple, put it right in front of your face, and then, take an oak board and smack the apple directly into your nose. And that's what this smells like. There's a little bit of like a Irish breakfast tea kind of thing coming through. More black pepper. What is that? Some kind of dried fruit. Like lemon peel, but then dates, I guess. What are the smaller dates? Not the regular ones. Never mind. It smells like dates. And yeah, maybe like a Tootsie Roll in there. Interesting. None of these 3 on the nose have been... You can tell there's a fair bit there, but they're not that forthcoming. On the palate, same kind of story. I don't want to call this like a squeaky clean, precise, millimetric kind of spirit, because there's still some grunge here. Like there's still a fair bit of like musty old wood going on in this, but it is so much cleaner in style compared to the Camuts. Lots of Granny Smith apple. A little bit of cider pear. Something yeast, like, I don't know. It's a little bit of a heresy to some people to age champagne in oak, But it does happen, and there is a distinct, like, oak-aged champagne aspect to this. It's like a yeasty, lemony, appley thing with, just like some oak and baking spices mixed in. There's some nutmeg, cinnamon, musty wood. Mouth length is actually a little bit disappointing. The mouth feel is great. Like it's just like covering all this up. Not great. It's really good. But the mouth length kind of ends at the back of my teeth. Finish is okay. Most of the finish is the structural stuff, like it's some intense, like overstewed tea kinds of elements. But it's pretty darn good. I'm going to give this 2 squirts as well, and we'll move on. No, 3 drops, whatever. That concludes the pot distilled portion of our program until we go back. And now we move on to the generic Calvados appellation, which can sometimes be more fun. All right, this is our first. So story behind these is PM Spirits, importer of high quality, nerdy stuff, did a collaboration with what's his name, Mr. Vingtier. What is his first name? Dang it! I should have written myself notes. Do I still have this written down somewhere? Yes, Alexandre Vingtier. And he does, nerdy spirits. Like, he does rums, he does brandies. He's my kind of guy. Anyways, they did a collaboration with him where they picked 3 different Calvas. And this is from Domaine Olivier. It is a 12-year-old, but look at that color. That is very, very dark for a 12-year-old Calva. And this is the exciting part. It is 50% apples and 50% pear. So I absolutely adore pears getting into my Calva. It just makes me happy. I love that character. So let's see what we got here. Forgive my silence. I am trying to figure out what the heck I'm smelling. It smells like rhubarb pie. What the heck is happening? Okay, yeah, rhubarb pie. But yeah, there's some like baked pear on top. And like someone is drinking a glass of puer next to it. So there's some musty wood, some forest floor, as wine nerds would say, which means like mushrooms and dirt. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get a handle on this. Dried cranberry. Dried raspberry. Or maybe it's baked raspberry, or almost like a raspberry jam kind of thing. Really unusual fruits. Fruits you would not expect to find in what is essentially an apple and pear brandy. Figs, prunes, raisins. Apricot? Sure. Let's go with that. Tons and tons of like weird fruit, mutant fruit. But it does have that kind of like a baked goods kind of character, like a pie shell or not a pie shell, like a I don't know, like a coffee cake you left in the oven too long and it got burned. Burned coffee cake. So there's some cinnamon, nutmeg. Also like a sugary aspect. This is a very, very interesting glass. It does smell quite woody. I'm expecting this to, hit me pretty hard, but let's see what happens. ABV on this is 47.9% on the palate. Ooh. Ripping. Oh, I like that a lot. So it has an interesting journey in terms of how it develops. It arrives in the palate like sour rhubarb pie, or like rhubarb pie where you threw a couple of like little apple slices in for fun. Like you ran out of rhubarb halfway through and you're like, apple can go in, why not? But then, like, as it transitions on the palate, it turns into like Hong Kong style milk tea. That is really fun. Yeah, rhubarb pie. But then it opens up milk tea. Whew. That is interesting. What else we got? We have some dried flowers. Baked pear again. Certainly a lot of tannins on the back end. Grip, grip, grip. Not as musty and kind of forest flory on the palate. Although it's just a lot of like overstewed tea kinds of stuff. It's like, you accidentally left your Assam tea or whatever going for half an hour in the pot, and you were like, yeah, I'll drink it anyways. I love the purity of the fruit character of this. The raspberry, the almost a red currant kind of character. Some plum maybe, but also dried fruit, fig, prunes, date. Yeah, again, I can see why they picked this. It's absolutely a character. At least as much of a character as the Camuts are, which is an achievement. So let's give this some water. It's like 48-ish, right? So I'll give it like an extra few drops beyond the squirt. 2, 3. And let us move on. I love how the Camuts are not the Camuts, the PM picks are like by far the darkest things on the table. Not even the Camut 35 is coming close. All right, moving on to another big name in Calva, Michel Huard. This is a generic Calvados. Ooh. This is cask number 14 from the 2008. I'm sorry, not cask number 14. 14-year-old from the 2008 vintage, 48.8% alcohol, which is the same as the glass coming up. On the palate, or on the nose. I'm already getting palate fatigued right now. I'm not even going to lie. There's these are very, very just complex, these are spirits that do unexpected things. This is very floral. So I'm getting a kind of base of. So it's a mix of like baked apple, but also the apple cheese thing. But it's actually not that potent. What's potent is the kind of floral thing floating above that. So yeah, just a huge old mix of flowers. And some herbs as well. There's some basil, there's some parsley. Cilantro. Like almost a little bit of that soapy cilantro thing. If you've got the gene. I've got the gene, but I like cilantro anyways. Don't ask me to explain that. A little bit of peppermint creeped me in. Very aromatic, very herbal, very floral. Wood, yeah, you're getting some wood. You're getting some fig and prune. You're getting a little bit of English breakfast tea. But they're not really the big player here. The big player is those floral, herbaceous top notes. There's a lot of them, and they're kind of fun on the palate. Yeah. Also very, very, very good. And similar kind of story. There's that apple cheese, apple fruit roll up kind of thing. It kind of holds things down, but it's not the majority of what's going on. It's the majority. Like the interest here is the big old blast of herbs and flowers, and it's the same kind of stuff. You're getting peppermint, some basil, parsley, cilantro. I think I mentioned Tootsie Roll earlier. There's some Tootsie Roll in the palate here. English breakfast tea again. And pretty good mouth presence. It's like, especially compared to some of the older stuff here. It's kind of coating my palate pretty well. Finish is strong. Mouth like this strong. Just strong on. I don't know. There's complexity here, but it isn't like nothing is really punching through here in terms of the particular flavors. These last two glasses have kind of thrown me for a loop a little bit. It's lovely. It's got balance. It's got poise. So it's got a little bit of like there's a little bit of a lemon lime thing going on there. Like really 7-Up, I guess. But I gotta be honest, of the ones I've been tasting so far, this might be the one I might remember least, which is a kind of, I'm not happy about that because it's very yummy. I'm gonna give that just like a squirt of water and a half. 3, 4. And we move on to this. Look at the color on this. That is like, what on earth? I mean, this looks like an old Bordeaux or something. That is like deep garnet. And what this is another Vingtier collaboration. This is from Cave Normande. It's 45 freaking years old and it is bottled at 48.8%. And this monster is 50% apple, 50% pear again. And I don't know what to say. Like, it smells exactly like you would expect an ancient Calvados to smell. Like, the wood is dominating on this. It is like overstew your own personal blend of English breakfast tea and pu'er. Overstew that, and then put some boards in that. Some like musty boards that have started to grow little mushrooms on them. Throw some figs and some prunes, some dates in there. And then just smother the whole thing in black pepper. That's a lot of what this smells like. Apple? Yeah, there's a little bit of just a hint of Granny Smith apple creeping through. But I got to be honest with you, this is all about the oak. If you like French oak, you will like this. Oh, you will like this. If you do not like French oak, stay the hell away. There's a little mustiness now. Oh, a couple of flowers creeping in, some dried flowers. Touch of lemon peel. It's very, what is that? Almost like a burned rosemary thing. Yeah, let's go with that. Rosemary, but a little burned. Some just old dirt. I mean, the oak is so dominant at this point in its life. If you handed this to me and told me it was a 45-year-old Armagnac or a 45-year-old Mar even, I would have no reason to disbelieve you. It's lost a little bit of the Calva typicity at this age. That doesn't mean it has to be bad, though, on the palate. Oh, Jesus. Well, I don't know what I was expecting. So the first thing I would say is those of you who have been disappointed in L'Encantada stuff recently, who've just been looking, or a little bit bored even, just looking for something to deliver that big, fat oak and spice slap in the face. It's just a little bit of a different twist on the formula. This is absolutely worth your time. Relentlessly oaky. But not over oaked. I mean, it's still holding together. It's just, yeah, like burned wood, overstewed tea, fig, prune, and the figs and prunes are angry. Like some, I don't even know, like baking molasses happening here. Is there apple to be found? Maybe a little bit. Maybe if you took a piece of apple skin and toasted up and aged it for a couple of years, there might be a little bit of that in here. Musty wood. God, there is so much oak on this. Black pepper. That little hint of floral potpourri stuff, just to remind you that there's some spirit underneath all this. Yeah, I'm going to stick with my first impression. If you like sort of seriously oaky spirits, and you can get this at a good price, this is absolutely worth a look. It's not my personal favorite style, but it's hitting the bases. really strong mouth presence. It holds on pretty well. And there's just enough other stuff going on in there that isn't oak that I'm not going to mark it down. Yeah. Okay, let's 3, 4, 5. Give that a few squirts of water. I wouldn't be mad if that gets more oaky with water. And last up, we have a little bit of a monster here. This is from Coquerel, or L silent in French? I can never remember. Domaine de Coquerel, 26-year-old Calvados. This is 95% apples, 5% pears, 57.1% alcohol by volume. And again, it's the PM Spirits Vingtier collaboration. And yeah, let's see what we got here. I think I've reviewed some Coquerels before. Okay, right off the bat, the ABV is showing itself a little more. This is a little bit more nippy. And in terms of character, this is actually not that far away from the Huard. This guy. Yeah, there's an undertone of like apple cheese that's been like soaked in apple juice. Like nice apple juice, organic apple juice. But like that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is this little cloud of potpourri and flowers and herbs kind of floating above. Flowers, blossoms, acacia maybe? Herbs. I know herbs better than flowers. This is it's still hard to nail down. Basil, oregano, rosemary, even a little bit of fennel in there. Some sliced pear creeping through. There isn't that much pear in here, but that's what I'm getting on the nose. Quite a bit of black pepper. This is going to sound bad. A little bit of Fabuloso, but nice. How do I put this? I can feel the oak more so than I can actually smell the oak. There's a heftiness to this, which is just telling me that the oak is there. And yeah, if I pay attention, there is a little bit of like a English afternoon tea with 2 lumps and cream kind of coming through. Really, it's it's more of a sense of density to this, which is telling me how oaky it is. And that's weird, but sometimes that happens, especially if this had been recently re-racked before bottling. Interesting. On the palate. Oh. Dang. Very, very impressive finish on this. Like, it is just sustained exactly as it was when I first swallowed for, I don't know how many seconds that was. And yeah, I mean, this comes across in some ways as just a better version of the Huard. It's a bass, in rhythm section, providing the foundation. You've got apple cheese and apple juice and some musty wood. But then on top of all that, you have tons of flowers and herbs. Oh, yeah. Similar herbs as before, similar flowers as before. A little bit of a old school post-work perfume thing. Mix of flowers. There's some bitter honey in there, like almost like a honeydew honey kind of thing. Basil again, oregano, rosemary. Yeah, that afternoon tea thing, that's present. But also an intense kind of cold brew coffee kind of thing. Very tannic, very grippy, just covers my entire palate and just hangs there. There's a little bit of like what is that? Like a juicy bubblegum kind of thing. Like not cheap bubblegum. This is like the good stuff. This is big league chew. Kind of intermingling with the apple. And then there's some little figs and prunes and stuff being thrown around in this too. This is very good. Two, 3, 4, it'll do 5, right? And again, I haven't checked the prices on these things, but I would suspect something like this would be less expensive than a comparable Armagnac, just because the market doesn't seem to be that interested in older generic Calva, at least. You know, Pays d'Auge is another thing. But I could be wrong. I'd have to look this up. Let's go back through these, assuming my palate can handle it. My nose is getting a little stuffy too. I can still smell though. It's so fun to go back to the Camut after these monsters over here, because it's just so much lighter. I wanted to say pure for a second, but it's not pure. This is, if anything, the Parmesan cheese element has kind of stepped forward a little bit. It's almost like Parmesan cheese mingling with the minerality. There's like imagine like putting Parmesan and rocks in a salad bowl, just tossing them. And that's a little bit what this smells like. The apple is there, the earthiness, the kind of smoked toffee, smoked caramel thing. The palate. Not a whole lot of change from where it was. The smoky caramel thing, the slightly sweeter side of this kind of steps forward a little bit. But it still has the same strengths and the same glaring weakness as before. And the glaring weakness is just the bottling strength. This just doesn't have enough oomph to really carry through on the mouth length or the finish. But the complexity is certainly there. Very, very, very delicious. Very crushable. I would do terrible things to get a bottle of this at 45%. What am I going to score this? Oh, this feels like a textbook 85, to be honest. 85 points for Camut 6. Let's move on. See if I can get out of here in under an hour. Camut 35. Reserve. Did I mention? I didn't mention like butter pecan ice cream somewhere in here, but now I'm really getting it. That is so crazy. Where is that coming from? Yeah, it's like you took some butter pecan ice cream and you just took a whole bunch of like the best apple slices ever made and stuck them in there. But no, then there's that kind of rocks and Parmesan thing. What's amazing is this is older than a lot of the things over here, and yet it's less oaky, more elegant. Oh. I gotta be honest with you. It's that strip of sour that is absolutely selling me on this. It's what do I say about it? Yeah, it's a halfway point between a standard Calvados like these guys and a really old good Demerara rum. But then there's that streak of like sour apple right in the middle of this. Oh, that puts it over the top. And I don't know. I'm torn. Finish is good, mouth length is good. Mouth feel could be better. So, if I sit back and analyze this, I can start poking holes in it, but it's so coherent and complex and balanced and delicious and mouth-quenching and crushable that I almost don't want to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. I can't get this up to 90. It's just not there, but I'll give it an 89. 89 points for the Camut Reserve. Gun to my head, one of the, in terms of development, one of the more, on the lower edge of 89. Let's put it like that I put out there. But absolutely delicious. You put a bottle of this stuff down in a bunch of nerds, it is not going to survive the night. It just won't. Moving on to the Groult again. It's just so much cleaner, but it is throwing more pepper now. There is more of a like white pepper thing. Yeah. Green apple, black pepper, and flowers / potpourri. On the palate. Not really any development on the palate. It's a cleaner style of Calva, and it's yummy, and I like it. I would just love to try this at higher strength. Mouth length is fine. Finish is fine. It's got some tannins on it. But the mouth feel just falls a little bit short. Score-wise, I'll call this an 87. It feels like 87 territory. And we move on to the standard generic Calvas, starting with this Olivier 12-year-old. Oh yeah, this was the weird one. I mean, some of the rest of these are weird too, but this one was really... Imagine having a perfectly baked rhubarb pie, and then you take a caramel apple and you just stick it right in the middle there, and you don't care about maintaining the crust or anything, it just goes straight in. And that's what this smells like. Some herbs, a little bit more floral action comes out with water. And a little bit more desserty stuff. All right, on the palate. Oh. That is terrific. That is excellent. If anything, the mouth presence steps up a little bit. Similar set of flavors. It's very weird flavors. So, not a whole lot of development of the flavors, but in terms of how it's delivering what it's got, this is really good. This is good. This is, I understand why they picked this. Flirting with 90. Can I get there? No, this is another 89. I can't quite get there with this, but yeah. Wow. That is a phenomenal Calva, and I mean, part of me worries that I'm giving the Camut 35 and 89 just because it's so yummy. I mean, this is yummy too. Not quite as yummy. Not quite as crushable. But, I mean, this is a stronger 89. Let's put it that way. And we move on to the Huard. I thought this was good, but I also thought it was maybe a hair bit forgettable, despite having an interesting profile. No, yeah, it's no real change. It's, flowers and herbs on top of a kind of slightly vague base. If anything, water has made this more vague. It's gotten a little bit more perfumey, more than I'd like, to be honest. We're not into like 80s Bowmore territory here, but on the palate. No, this did not like the water very much. I mean, it's nice. It's well made. I appreciate the apple character, but when you add water, it feels like the finish gets a little bit clipped, and it does bring out a little bit more floral potpourri stuff than I appreciate. When things get out of balance, a lot of the time it's flowers that are to blame. It's not too bad, though. I mean, this is still good. I'll call this another 85. But it's more like an 86 minus 1, if that makes sense. 86 minus 1. This isn't the normal thing where, you know, I put a minus in front of a score. This is a little bit more, I feel this is falling apart a little bit more than usual with water, which is a little bit worrying. It's still good, though. Moving on to the Cave Normandie. This was the oak bomb of the lineup. And it still smells like the oak bomb of the lineup. If anything, there's just more oak now. I'm not even getting any apple. Just a little bit of floral action happening, but yeah, hand this to me and call this a Baz Armagnac, and I will not doubt you for a minute. On the palate. Hello. So usually when I add water to something and I fear oak coming out, it's because I'm afraid of bad oak. I'm afraid of oak that is just going to like strip away all the other flavors and all the complexity and just like tear my palate apart, and it's not going to be fun, and I'm not going to like it. This time the oak has come out, but it's like oak that has actually contributed to the complexity. Yeah. So once again, the apple has kind of receded a little bit. It would be hard to call this a Calvados in a blind. But what you're getting is just additional layers to the oakiness, to the spice. It's quite beautiful. Again, I can see why PM picked this. It's just a beautiful, layered, oaky profile. I hate to say it, but, you know, the Loup Pibou, or Loose Pibou, I don't know, things are pronounced differently in southern France. Those early bottlings that everyone was getting excited about from L'Incantada, there's a lot of that in this. Not necessarily my style, but I cannot deny the level of quality in this. So I'm going to give this an 88 plus, with the note that if that kind of style is what you like, that kind of just onslaught of French oak and spice, this is well worth seeking out, and it delivers just a lot more for than what I've been seeing from a lot of the recent L'Incantada bottlings. Except for that Puy I tried, but that was just a completely different beast. So, yeah, 88 plus. Very impressive, very, very good. And finally, back to the Domaine de Coquerel, or Coquerel, depending on what I remember the rules of French being. Again, it just smells like a better version of the Huard. Flowers and herbs up top. Apple cheese, like apple slices, apple juice. All that stuff underneath. Development on the nose from where it was before. Not really. There's a little bit more of a black tea element creeping in now. But yeah, we'll move on. Palate. This is another one where, again, I can see why they picked this. It's very, very mouth-filling. The mouthfeel on this, the mouth presence, is really, really impressive, and it just hangs on. The mouth length is, yeah, it's good. It's okay. It's fine. We're starting to tickle my tonsils a little bit. We're starting to enter that same kind of like quasi Demerara rum realm as we were getting at with the Camuts, but yeah, I mean, in some ways that's a way of thinking about this. It's a cross between the Huard and the Camuts with more oak involved. I guess there's a lot of oak on this, like just old musty wood. Overstewed tea. But in my heart of hearts, is this as good as the Olivier or the Cave? I'm going to try this again. Hold on. Oh, the Olivier is good. Cave, Normande. Less my style. Less my style, but good. And the Coquerel. No, that's right up there too. I still like the Olivier best, just that flavor profile. And the way it behaves in the mouth is very special. But I can't in good conscience score this below the Cave Normandie, so I'm going to give this the same score, 88 plus. And all three of the PM Spirits releases are really, really, really good. And if you can get them for a good price, grab them. And that will help keep... I mean, with all of these, help keep our importers of nerdy spirits in business. This is probably going to be a rough couple of years. All right, so just to review, Camut 6-year-old, 85 points, 89 points for the 35-year-old Camut. Although keep in mind, it gets that 89 because it's just so delicious, it just pushes up a couple of points beyond what, strictly speaking, the form should be. So keep that in mind. 87 for the Groult, 89 for this absolutely fantastic Olivier. Grab this if you can. This is great. Huard gets an 85, which is really just like an 86 minus 1. Do not add water to this. It doesn't seem to like it. And then the other two PM Spirits, Vingtiers, get an 88 plus. So yeah, good flight. And yeah, I'm going to go lay down, I think. Thanks for watching. And cheers.